Hi, third graders. This is Mrs. Oyster, and today we are going to learn lesson 5 of our geometry unit. Our learning targets today are to identify and describe polygons based on their attributes. That's something we've been working on this whole time. And today we're going to focus in particular on right angles and on identifying the number of right angles that a given polygon has. So let's get started. First, let's review some of the vocabulary that you have learned so far. Let's start at the top. Polygon. A polygon is a closed shape with 3 or more straight sides. Now, what is a side? A side is any line segment with 2 endpoints used to form a polygon. So if you look at this triangle down here, these are the sides, kind of like the edges. A corner is the point where 2 sides meet. Angles are formed when 2 sides meet, and angles are the inside of the corner. So this here is a corner. But then this angle inside, the space inside, that's the angle. That's the inside of the corner. And our focus today is on right angles. So what is a right angle? A right angle is an an angle of 90 degrees, like the corner of a square. Or, and this word you don't have to remember, but it's a fun one to say, the intersection of 2 perpendicular straight lines. When lines are perpendicular, they form a right angle. So here is a right angle. Whenever you see an angle with this square symbol, that symbol is telling you that it is a right angle. And a lot of times I'll refer to it as a square angle because it makes a perfect square. So let's talk about polygons. What are some of the different polygons we've learned? Here's a few pictures. We have a triangle. We have a quadrilateral, and this one happens to be a rectangle, a pentagon, a hexagon, and an octagon. So what do these shapes mean? Well, a triangle is a closed shape with 3 straight sides and 3 angles. And there's a couple pictures of triangles right here. A quadrilateral is a closed shape with 4 straight sides and 4 angles. A pentagon is a closed shape with 5 straight sides and 5 angles, like these two here. A hexagon is a closed shape with 6 straight sides and 6 angles. These are both examples of hexagons. And then an octagon is a closed shape with 8 straight sides and 8 angles. And these are both examples of octagons. So, right angles. We learned that a right angle is an angle of 90 degrees, as in the corner of a square. It's the intersection of 2 perpendicular straight lines. So here on the left, this is an example of a right angle. It makes a perfect square corner. This angle here, this is not a right angle because it does not make a perfect square corner. In fact, this angle is smaller than a right angle. So now I'm going to show you a little trick you can do to determine how many right angles, or if an angle is a right angle in a given shape. If you have your packet in front of you, go ahead and see this piece of paper here. I want you to feel the corner of your packet. Just kind of go down and around the corner. Pieces of paper typically have right angles in all 4 corners. That's what makes it a good shape to write on. So if you have a piece of paper, or in the classroom I like to use an index card because they're a little smaller, but you can use a piece of paper. You can use that corner to check and see if an angle is a right angle. And notice that this piece of paper, it actually has 4 right angles. This is a right angle, this one here, and this one here. So you take your paper, let's see, I wonder if this is a right angle. I'm going to take my paper and I'm going to see if my paper fits exactly in that angle. Yes, it does. So that means that this is a perfect right angle. Now this angle is in a different direction. So I'm going to take the paper, whoop, here we go, and scoot it over. Let's see if this makes a perfect square angle. Yep, it does. So this is also a right angle. And now let's check this guy down here. Does that make a perfect square corner? Yep, so these are all right angles. Now I'm going to take my paper and check these angles. If I put the corner in the corner, does the angle match the sides of the paper? No, it does not. So this is not a right angle. This one's actually smaller. Oh, okay, let's try this one here. I put my paper in the corner, so I'm going to match up the corners. Does the angle match the sides of the paper? No, it doesn't. So this is also not a right angle. This angle is actually bigger than a right angle. And now let's try this one. Remember, we need to put the corner in the corner. Oop, wrong thing. No, no, no. I want this guy. Here we go. So I'm going to move the paper right here. Does this angle match the sides of this paper? No, so this is also not a right angle. So that's how you can use a piece of paper, or in this case, I have a picture of a piece of paper, to check some angles. All right, so now let's look at some shapes. Here's a shape. This happens to be a pentagon because it has 5 sides. Let's see how many right angles it has. So what's handy about this piece of paper is it has 4 corners, so I can use any of these corners because I need to test all these angles. So let's start with this one right here, this angle. Does that make a perfect square corner? Yep, so there's one right angle. Let's see, how about this one down here? I'm going to take my paper and I'm going to put it there. Does this make a perfect square corner? Yes, so there's 2 right angles. Now I'm going to check this angle here. So I'm going to use this corner. If I put that paper, does this angle match the paper? No, so that's not a right angle. Let's go down to this one here. Does this angle match the angle of the paper? Nope, so that's also not a right angle. So let's review. So far we have 2 right angles and 2 not right angles. Now this is going to be tricky because I need to rotate the paper so I can fit the corner in here. Let's see if I can do that. Might have to adjust it a little bit. Let's see. Yep, I'm going to adjust this just like this. In real life, it's much easier to move the paper. Okay, so this angle right here, does it match the angle of the paper? No, it does not. This angle is a little bigger than a right angle. And this is where the right angle check using the paper is helpful because honestly, when I looked at this angle without checking, it kind of looked like it could be a right angle to me. If I hadn't checked, I might have counted that. But since we did the test, we know that this angle right here, this is not a right angle. So how many right angles does it have? It has two right angles. And like I told you, this is a pentagon. So let's try another one. All right, here we've got a quadrilateral, 4 sides. Let's check the angles. So we're going to check this one, this one, this one, and this one. So I'm going to take my piece of paper. Is that a right angle up at the top left? Sure is. How about this one over here? Yep, so that's 2 right angles. Now I'm going to check the one at the bottom here. Is this a right angle? Yep, it matches perfectly. How about this one? Yes, so all 4 angles are right angle. What shape is this? It is a rectangle, and it has 4 right angles. Okay, now let's check this guy. This is a funny shape. It's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sides. So we know that's going to be a pentagon. So let's check the angles. This is kind of a tricky one because I can tell that that's going to be not a right angle, but that could be, that could be, that could be. So let's check. I'm going to start with the top right. Ooh, it's very close, isn't it? But does this, look, if I scoot it over, you can really tell. Does this side match exactly? No. So it's close to a right angle, but it is not a right angle. How about this one right here? I'm going to move this corner. No, it's definitely not. This one's much bigger than a right angle. I'm going to try this one right here. I skipped down to this because this one's obvious. This angle's much bigger than a right angle. Okay, now I got to try and rotate this guy. Let's check this one over here. Ooh, is that a right angle? Nope. It looks like it might be, but then look, it disappears under the paper. It doesn't match exactly, so not a right angle. Now I'll rotate again. How about this one here, down here? That's really close, isn't it? It almost matches, but it goes out to the side. It's bigger than a right angle. So this green shape here, this pentagon, has 0 right angles. Okay, let's check this one. This has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sides. So we know this is a hexagon. So let's check the angles. Is this an angle, right angle? It's an angle, not a right angle though. How about on the other side? Nope, not a right angle because it is bigger than that right angle. Now I'm going to try the bottom ones. Is this a right angle? Do the lines match the paper? Nope, that's also bigger than a right angle. How about this one here? Do the lines match the paper? Nope. And now I'm going to try these two side ones. I'm going to rotate my paper. I need to rotate it a little more. There we go. Okay. Does this angle match? Nope, not a right angle. And I'll turn this over here. Oh, that was not even close, was it? Okay. There we go. Close enough. This is tricky. Also not a right angle. So as you can see, none of these angles are right angles. They're all a little bit bigger, so this would have 0 right angles. Okay, I think this might be our last one. This is a triangle, obviously. It has 1, 2, 3 sides, so we know it is a triangle. Let's check the angles. That means it's got one angle here, one angle here, and one angle here. I'm going to start at the top. Is that angle a right angle, class? What do you think? It is not. It's too small. It does not match the lines of the paper. How about this one down here? Is this angle a right angle? Also, no, it does not match the sides of the paper. And how about this one over here? Yes, that one is a right angle. See how the lines match exactly the sides of the paper? It makes a perfect square angle. So this triangle actually has one right angle. All right, thanks for doing those with me. Here is your assignment today. It's page 8 in your packet. It's actually page 8 and 9, or your teacher may also want you to do it in Google Classroom. There are 7 shapes. So if you do complete the paper in Google Classroom, make sure you scroll down to the end of the assignment so that you make sure and complete all of them. I know I have had some assignments turned in where the last few weren't done because the students didn't scroll all the way down. So just make sure you do that. And here's your directions. You have some shapes, and what you're going to give is the name of the shape and then the number of right angles the shape has. And if you want to make your own little right angle check, you can grab another piece of paper. If you have like a card, an index card, or I would say a playing card, but a lot of times those have rounded corners, so that might not work. But go ahead and grab yourself something that you can use like I did to test the angles and see how many right angles they have. So the first one is done for you. This is a triangle. It has 3 sides, so they wrote triangle. And the number of right angles the shape has, this triangle has only 1 right angle. Now here you have a shape that has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sides. What do we call a shape with 5 sides? We call it a pentagon. So here you would write pentagon, and then you're going to check. I'm not going to tell you how many right angles this has, and you would write how many angles are here. Then there are 5 more shapes after that you're going to name, and then identify how many right angles it has. All right, class, thanks for practicing identifying right angles with me today. The next lesson, we're going to put everything we've learned all together. So thank you for learning with me, and I will see you next time.